Raghunath, are you ready for this?
What?
The Wisdom of the Sages trainings that are going on.
Where?
At the Eco Village, the Govardhan Eco Village in India.
Why?
To totally transform your life spiritually.
Who?
You, me, Raghunath Swami's going to be there. Other great teachers are going to be there. Lots of cool people.
How?
You go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. You find all the information there.
Haribo.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kostubha Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Friday. We're doing it again every day. Srimad Bhagavatam.
Whoa.
Giving us joy.
All right.
How are you, Kostubha?
I'm very happy today.
It is Tell a Friend Friday. You know what that means? Share the love. Share it. Share the podcast with people that you know, that you think sort of sitting on a spiritual fence, maybe need it right now, maybe need a little boost, a perk, a pick-me-up, a spiritual pick-me-up. Take a screenshot or like just go to the app or the YouTube, copy the link, send it to someone. I bet there's someone out there that could really use it. Matter of fact, you never know what you're going to do when you're going to. Matter of fact, you got that letter, Mara? The chain of letters from Brian?
Yes, I do.
Let's read that.
That was such a casual segue. It was just like so spontaneous and everything. As a matter of fact,
we got something right here. Well, you know what? There was like a thing going on like in 1992. Did you see that picture of you I posted of you?
Yeah, I did.
Right
That
after
was a
initiation.
cool picture.
Wasn't that a cool picture?
Yeah.
Me just running. Instead of like being spiritually and deep, I'm running around with my camera. Got a picture of Kostubha. Check my Instagram. A picture of Kostubha chanting his Gayatri mantra in the Yamuna River after our initiation.
But I think, Raghunath, I think that it must have been like a day or two or something after the initiation, because I wouldn't have received the mantra yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe 2 days after.
Yeah, right after. But that was a very
I don't know
cool
where
photograph.
I found that. I was digging through some photos.
Was that a photo of the photo that you posted?
That was a photo with a photo.
All right.
So I doctored it up a
Thank
little.
you. And you just wrote a nice message. Thank you, Raghunath.
Yeah. Yeah, I said drop a heart. Did you like
Drop a
that?
heart.
Drop a heart. I knew that
Drop a
would get
heart.
you. Only the initiated Zoomers understand that one.
Okay.
But anyway, back in 91 and 92 and so forth, we had this whole shelter band thing going on in Philadelphia. And we had a lot of young kids coming to the temple.
Yeah.
Young kids like 17, 15. And then we reconnected with some of them like haven't seen them in years. And this young, really adorable young girl, 16 years old, used to always come. And then she disappeared, never saw her again. And she's back. She listens to the show regularly. She's married to an Indian man who is a really nice Indian devotee. And they live in Pune. In Maharashtra, and then we got this really nice little email exchange from this really nice kid who used to come around. He's probably a man now. It's been 30 years.
Okay.
1991 was 30 years ago. Is that unbelievable?
31.
I was like, yeah, it's just 20 years ago. No, it was 30 years ago.
You want me to read this from him?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're Haribo. My name's Brian. I was a regular at Philly Temple when Raghu lived there. He called me Brian Sincere.
Oh.
Well, after
He was really sincere. He was
Sweet.
really soft and sweet and sincere.
It's a great nickname. Well, after close to 2 decades of misery, I'm striving for just a little mercy from Sri Krishna and his devotees. This podcast is amazing. Keep rolling.
Thank you. Brian.
Should I read what you wrote back to him, Raghu? Or you want me to just read his next?
Yeah, I said, of course, I remember you. And, yep, 2 decades of misery. Sometimes I wrote something like, sometimes it takes a couple decades to realize the pain of material existence. Yeah.
And then he wrote back, currently living in Henderson, Nevada, just a minute from Sin City. A month ago, I found there was an ISKCON temple minutes from my house. I visited and took darshan. I was overwhelmed with longing. I prayed to Sri Krishna, asking only for some mercy and association with his devotees. The floodgates opened rapidly. No matter the fleeting years that have passed, he was always there. I just couldn't see him. So I'm slowly dipping back into
that's
service.
Profound. That's a profound statement.
Yeah. So I'm slowly dipping back into service and chanting the holy name. With some mercy, I hope to gain just an ounce of knowledge and humility. I was telling my fiance, I was telling my fiance how you and I met and how I came to Krishna consciousness. It was maybe 1991. Shelter was playing basically a keg party at an abandoned warehouse in Philly.
I totally remember that. Just like a big, weird warehouse keg party. We were all monks.
He says, I was completely drunk and lost. The next day I woke up and found a copy of one of Srila Prabhupada's books in my jacket that you had given me.
Woke up with a Prabhupada book. People have woke up from keg parties in a much worse condition. They woke up with a transcendental literature in their coat pocket.
Soon I was at Govinda's Wednesday night programs and then Philly Temple. It was a glorious time for me and a true renaissance in the movement. But I gave it all up. I let ego convince me I didn't need Krishna and that all I needed was me. For literally the next 30 years, I chewed on thorns, mistaking my own blood for pleasure. I may never be a great devotee, but through practice, the holy name, and association with Krishna's devotees, I know I can find peace. Thank you so much for your time and for being the one who, through Krishna's mercy, brought me to this path. If there's ever something I can do to serve, or if you ever need a friend if you visit Vegas, don't hesitate to ask. Hare Krishna, your most worthless service. Back to Brian.
And we just missed him, Mary.
Yeah,
we were just in Vegas.
You're stranded in Vegas just a couple of weeks ago.
How did he break that to his fiance? Oh, I'm sort of a Hare Krishna.
Maybe she's down with it. Maybe she's down with it right now.
Well, I tell you, what a story, huh?
Yeah.
He was a very sincere kid. He used to come to the temple every day. And then you just sort of like, you know what? Especially in your youth, you think, I like Krishna, interesting stuff, pretty cool, culturally deep. I've got a better idea. We don't have a better idea than Krishna's idea. Krishna knows exactly what we need, and he's trying to lay out a roadmap for us. And no matter how intelligent we are, we're pretty clever. We're not as intelligent as Krishna. Krishna's just giving us the parameters, giving us the guardrails, telling us, move this way, move in this direction. It's going to work out great. And our agenda keeps us off the trail. But it's amazing how his heart has been so touched in a deep way that he can't forget. And Krishna reappears. That's a Tell a Friend Friday. That's what we do in Tell a Friend Friday. We reach out.
Okay, Roberto, that's what we do.
And speaking of Tell a Friend Friday, what's up in Nugget Land today, Kostiva? Let's see.
Today is a big, huge, fat nugget. It's like a massive nugget.
Don't fat shame my nuggets, please.
I didn't say anything about shame. It's a beautiful fat nugget. Uh-oh, I lost him.
I'm sorry. Oh, is this the inspiration list we're going to use?
That's what I thought. Let's read that.
Okay, this is good.
This is a list. I found this on the Urban Davy website. Am I allowed to go to the Urban Davy website?
If you're
you're
identify as a Davy.
Okay, but the Urban Davy website is the intersection of devotional wisdom in the lives of women in the 21st century. And by the way, we should announce again, right? Did we do announcements? Did you cover anything?
We didn't do announcements.
We'll do that.
I sort of slid right into Tell a Friend Friday.
We have a Back to Recovery group meeting today at 1 p.m. Tomorrow's our question and answer day. So if you have questions, you can email us at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. And then we also have some special announcements going out to our Patreon members later.
Special
today.
goodies? Special goodies? For the goodie basket?
You're not going to announce it now?
Yeah, we can announce it now.
Well, I'm not saying you should. Whatever your plan is, whatever you think is the right way to handle it.
Okay, it's going to go out to Patreon members.
Okay, Patreon members,
today.
pay attention today. Because there's kind of a blowout bonanza going on.
Yes, something exciting.
A blowout bonanza?
I knew you would catch on to that. I was like, so you should use that kind of bombastic advertising language you perk up.
Is Santa you know what my little kid said when he was 2 years old, which was the most adorable thing I've ever heard.
What's that?
It was right around Christmas, and he says, Is Santa gonna put goodies in our slipper socks?
Yeah, I guess you got to be a father to.
Our stockings. We had our stockings. Is Santa gonna put goodies in our slipper socks?
Okay, we're gonna.
So what's going on with this? What's going on with this bonanza? Is Santa gonna put goodies in our slipper socks?
There's the blowout bonanza. Particularly, here's a hint: if you're anywhere in the New York or Atlanta area, this is going to be important for you.
Yeah.
Oh, and is Mara going to put goodies in our slipper socks for Patreon members? Is that what's going on?
Yes.
Let's move on from that.
All right. We're not telling. Okay, I like that. Yeah. I like surprises.
It's for Patreon members. This is a big thing. This is like a really awesome benediction, just like coming down.
Members only.
What is that? All right. Why don't we move on to this inspiration list?
Before we go, you know that I'm keeping this on that back burner because I just didn't want to mention it. But now all these Wisdom Sages people are writing me about, hey, I'm going to go to your show. Youth of Today. I know I'm 56 years old and I'm in a band called Youth of Today. Youth of Today is playing Cambridge 11/16, Brooklyn 11/17, Philly 11/18, and Baltimore 11/19. Kosiba, you're going to be at Brooklyn. We're going to hang together. We're going to distribute halava.
We can set up a table, and maybe even like Philly, if it would work out some way. I could see going. I think we should. It seems like you don't have time to do a program. You're doing it every day, right? Like you don't have any break there.
Yeah, you can think about it. Maybe we do something in New York. Maybe we should do something at the Bhakti Center before.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Bring goodies and put them in their slipper socks.
Where is it in Brooklyn?
I don't know. Brooklyn, man. Brooklyn's become a whole labyrinth now.
You don't even know the name of the place?
Put it on the board.
Like in Williamsburg or something? Is it right near?
I don't know.
Okay. We'll find out. All right. So, yeah, I'll be there at least for some of that.
Yeah. All right. Great.
So, we went through a chapter in 3 days this week. The previous chapters we were taking like weeks on.
Yeah.
And but the stories moving forward, we're learning all kinds of information about it. It's a story that's calling us to zoom out and look at our life from another angle, right? Mm-hmm. Am I just on the gerbil wheel, or hamster wheel, just running along, not thinking about it? Or can I step back, analyze my position in this world, how I'm experiencing I'm trying to experience happiness through the senses of the body. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. And even when I am successful, that I'm in a body that's deteriorating, right? I look around me, everywhere I see, people are dying, animals are dying, plants are dying. I know death is coming my way, but I don't think about it. And I don't think, is there a meaning? Are there some lessons I'm supposed to learn, right?
Yeah.
So it's a story that's kind of calling us to do that. But it's challenging because the world just keeps moving and the responsibilities are there and the desires are there, So it's hard to be introspective, isn't it? Sometimes you get caught up in the flow.
Minutia of material existence.
Minutia is there. There's a flow. Minutia. But sometimes we need to kind of like write something down and make a conscious effort to bring our mind, bring our heart, bring our attention to certain things that are going to help ground us in that zoomed out vision, or we could say spiritual vision, right? And this is an inspiration list that I found on urbandavy.com. If you just Google Urban Davy, that's DEVI, and Urban Davy and inspiration list, you'll be able to find this. And it's something from Satchidananda Swami.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And it's an inspiration of his. These are things that he, on a daily basis, contemplates to help keep his vision grounded in this deeper spiritual, introspective kind of place.
So here's the first one.
Okay.
Chant with absorption, knowing Krishna listens to the voice of your chanting.
Well, you see that he's so thoughtful like this, right? Because just that little detail that makes a big difference, doesn't it? Like chant with absorption. Well, how am I going to do that? Help me do that. Well, no, right? Have the faith, right? That Krishna is listening to the voice of your chanting.
Mm.
Do we even listen to our own voice? We're chanting,
I know. Yeah, or the mind's other voices. It's like layers of voices.
Yeah.
Relish. Here's number 2. Ready? This is how to keep
Why
inspired.
don't you go through them quickly, and then we can go
Okay.
back and choose.
Relish the Srimad Bhagavatam every day and share what struck you with others. Ha! Tell a friend Friday. I'm thinking like Satchidananda Maharaj now.
Tell a friend Friday.
Tell a friend. Okay.
That
Let
makes
go of
all,
your
but anyway, yeah. Well, let's go through them fast, and we'll come back.
let go of your fear. Surrender by conscientiously choosing small acts for the pleasure of the Lord. You build a strong bridge of surrender that eventually brings you to Him.
I think what you can do here, Raghunath, is the one word is there in capital letters.
Just read the caps.
Read that word and then read it.
Listen.
Okay.
Okay. 5. Choose.
No, I was going to say you can read the whole thing, but I'm saying emphasize that first.
Okay. Listen to the saints every day.
Okay. Next one.
Right. Choose good friends. 6. Don't become attached.
You can read the whole thing. Choose good friends.
Okay. Choose good friends and dare to talk with them of things you are usually silent about.
Okay. Then we got to talk about that.
Careful with that one.
Yeah.
Don't become attached. Remain clear. You are a citizen of the
You're
spiritual
just not getting
world.
what I'm saying. I'm saying you do it like this. You say next one, number 6. Remain clear. Okay. Don't become attached. Remain clear. You are sitting. I was thinking you could do it like that because he's highlighting these different things.
Okay. Giving. Know that in giving and not taking, the real treasures of life are coming to you.
Okay.
Think.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think.
Learn to think thoughts. Think thoughts that give you energy.
This stuff's profound.
Thoughts that give you energy.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that.
Act out of love. Find that small spark in your heart and then act out of love rather than duty. Nice one.
These are all really important. He's got a certain way, like he's attentive and he's introspective and he just shares a little detail that helps you understand, go more deeply into what he's saying. Right?
Yeah, I like this. All right, so you want to go back and tease him out a little?
Well, let's tease him out. Yeah. I mean, or did anyone capture your attention? Like you say, oh, I got to focus on that one today. I shared these with you yesterday so that we wouldn't have a moment of complete dead air. Yeah.
I like relish the Srimad Bhagavatam every day and share. A big
that's an
part
important point, right? Share with a friend what struck you.
Well, it's not just because it's good to share. Sharing's good. Be a share bear. Not because of that. Just because it also helps you remember what you read to recount. Skinnergy does this. She carries around that notebook with her and she just writes everything down and then reads them back later. And so it's good when you write down what you share. Mara did that to me yesterday. She listened to a lecture on Lord Jagannath and she wrote down all these notes and she said, hey, check out these things on Lord Jagannath.
She shared what struck her the most.
Yeah. And by doing so, you're recalling them, you're engraving them deeper in your consciousness.
That's the point, right? They slip away too easily. Our minds are just so fickle, and these you hear something, it's meaningful, and then it slips away, and it's like gone forever, Yeah. But if you share it with one person, if you share with 3 people in the course of that day, they may get sick of you. People may get tired that you keep, but it will start to become something that you own more, something that's easy for you to recall, something that is like registered in the subconscious and just ready to come back up to the surface at any moment because you've sent it around a few times, right, and shared it. So that's
why I'm going to repeat to you the 3rd verse of the Jagannath Astakam, my friend.
Okay, with eyes closed.
With eyes closed, on the shore of a great on the shore of a great ocean. on the shore of a great ocean, in a very large palace, atop of a golden and brilliant mountain, Lord Jagannath resides with his powerful elder brother, Lord Balaram, or Baladev, and his sister Subhadra sitting in between them. May Jagannath Swami, who bestows pure devotional service to all godly souls, be the object of my vision.
Jagannath Swami Nayana Pataka.
Getting ready. I predict I'm going to get to Jagannath Puri, and somehow I'm going to get in that temple. Even though
Raghunath, don't go there.
I'm not allowed. They're going to say something about you. We need you in there. We need you. Lord Jagannath has told me.
I don't.
Pujari escorts me in. Anyway, this is good. Okay, which one do you like on the inspiration list?
I like them all.
I understand that.
But well, let's go to this number 6, which is remain clear.
Don't be
Okay,
attached. Remain clear. You are a citizen of the spiritual world, staying only a short time in the guest house of planet Earth. What a great way to put it. You're in the guest house. Don't get too attached. We mentioned this yesterday. It's so important to see life like this.
Mm-hmm. I think it was 2 days ago too, where we had the Aboriginal thing that says we're just passing through this place and time, right? We're just passing through. So what am I? And we were saying that you don't need to decorate your hotel room, right? You just pass through that thing. So let's remain clear on this. It's a hard thing to do. And the more attached we are to our home, more attached we are to certain people in our life. And I don't mean that we shouldn't love them deeply and dearly, but attach to them in a different way, like identifying ourselves with them entirely, right? You got to realize I'm passing through this moment. We're all passing through these different bodies, different circumstances, you know. Raghunath, I got news for you.
I got news for you. You got news for me? I got news for you. You tell me. You're trying to school me?
See, open up. Open up.
Please tell me the news. Please tell me the news, wise man.
What do you have to say? You tell me. You tell me your news.
My news is that whether we like it or not, the material world's going to crumble in our hands. It's going to get pulled away from us. Okay. And we just better accept that this is a hotel room. If you don't, it's just going to be like, we're going to lose everything anyway. There's nothing here for us, you know, and we just got to keep going forward on a spiritual path. We have to trust there is a spiritual path, move forward on the spiritual path. The spiritual path reciprocates with our desire, and you get a sweetness from it. And to the degree that I'm attached to the temporary things of this world is the degree I'm going to cause pain. Sometimes, I mean, even investing in pain. I'm making a dedicated investment in a future pain. So we have to zoom out 30,000 feet, see our world, see it as an Airbnb that I'm going through. I'm not gonna, go down to IKEA and redecorate my Airbnb. I'm just gonna stay there. I'm gonna do my work. I'm gonna give some love, and I'm gonna get ready to move on. That's the material world.
I like that. Don't invest in pain. You got that one, Mary?
There's an investment in pain going on.
Because actually, how does the pain come? It comes through attachment, right? I become attached to something, and it's just a matter of time before I'm removed from it, before it's torn from me, and that's the painful experience, right?
Yeah, it's the hardest thing too. And it's almost like Maya's really setting us up with it's the very things we love the most: family, home. Like Amy shared that beautiful thing in class the other day about sort of like the comfort of home. What's wrong with the comfort of home? But nothing's wrong with the comfort of home. The comfort of home is wonderful. It's great to have a comfortable home. It's just not permanent. It's just what happened. Her home got hit by lightning.
Really?
And it just like exploded. I don't know the entire story or how a home exploded, but it got hit by lightning, and she was like devastated. And understandably, these things, family, home, these are the things, our deepest rooted attachment. And then when we cultivate spiritual knowledge along with life, because it's not only her home that's getting struck by lightning, everything all of our possessions, so to speak, are getting struck by lightning. All of the things that we have in this world are getting struck by lightning. They're getting chopped away, lopped away, shaved away, ripped away, wrenched away in due time. Even if things work out smoothly, we still lose them. So it's one of those things to cultivate detachment. And here's where we go right back to our story that we're getting out of is the king in that analogy, the king tried to just like, no, I'm going to completely absorb myself in my senses. That means all these things of the world are mine for my enjoyment. And he walked away from some sort of dharmic idea of piety and spirit. I'll be sort of spiritual in this world. I'll be good and I'll get some good result. And then all of a sudden it's beyond like, it's beyond degraded life, defiled life. It's beyond that. It's even what we're talking about in the Bhagavatam is even beyond piety. It's actually, this is not even our place whatsoever. This is a complete rental. We're not going to be here. Nothing you can keep here. It's all going to, all of our beautiful stuff that we cherish will end up in a dumpster or our children will fight over it. How about that for like puncturing the bubble of the romance of the material world? Our children are going to fight over it.
I mean, that happens all the time, right? Like the parents, they love the children and they're trying to provide for them. And then when they pass away, they want them to have so much. And then the children fight over it at the end.
All these things like we're storing in our basement. Oh, here's a picture my son drew. They're all this stuff. You never look at them. It ends up in a dumpster. It's sad, but true.
Well, here's my news for you, Raghunath.
What?
1, you're not a man. 2,
you're not a man. Yeah, come on.
2, you're not an American. Yeah, I'm not American. You're not American.
You're not American.
No, but my point is this, it's like, I see it more clearly, nowadays than I've ever seen it before. We're so lost up in polarities and fighting with each other, not realizing that, the way, and we're going to find out, the king's about to die in our story, right? And in this chapter that we're going to begin next week, he takes his next birth and he's no longer a man. He's a woman this time.
You're not a man. I get it.
You're not a man, right?
You're not a man.
It's like you've been, if we could all think about this, this is remain clear that we're a citizen of the spiritual world. We're passing through temporary circumstances, temporary identities, identify as a man, identify as a woman. If we all were able to step back and say, hey, it's not that there's men on this side and women on that side. It's not that there's, Ukrainians on this side and Russians on that side, or Jews on this side and Palestinians on that side, or, black on this side and white on that side. We've all been all of these things, right? We're all passing through these. We're all in the same spiritual category, and we're passing through material categories of differences, and we fight like crazy. And when we're in the male body, we're thinking like a male, and we want the male advantages, and we want the advantages to swing to that side, and we're upset with the others. And when we're in the female one, same thing, we're upset and we want the advantages and what we don't realize is that we're all passing through these. And the more deeply absorbed we are in focusing on our hatred for the other side, the more likely we're going to be born in that circumstance the next time around and hate the other way back.
Interesting.
Hate the other way back, yeah.
And with that goes, for example, we were talking about 30 years ago, when I used to live in the Philly temple. So 30 years ago, I zoomed out a little bit. I saw my life in perspective. Wow, that was 30 years ago. Then I zoomed out again a little bit higher, and I see, wow, that was my whole life. Now I'm 56. I can zoom out even higher and see, all right, this is going to be my entire life, and I might have had a life in the future, and I might have a life in the past. And you zoom out even more. And if you were to keep zooming out, I would see that thread of spirit and my existence as Ray Capo Raghunath Das as a tiny sliver in eternal time, a tiny, tiny sliver. And that even if I have a great life and everything's freaking cool, I have good fortune, I've had good karma, I've had good hair, whatever it is in this lifetime, it is like a sneeze. It is like a blink in the eye, in the world of eternity. It is like a blink. He had a great life and it was over. And even if you had the most tragic life, and people are born in tragedy and die in tragedy, and they never get out of tragedy. And there's sometimes it hurts me, because when you hear about whatever it is, human trafficking, the kid that was, kidnapped his whole life, and then they found him running through the streets naked. These crazy stories you hear, like, what a tragic life. How's he ever going to recover from that trauma? And there's nothing I can do about it. Like, I'd like to stop all the tragedy of this world, and I just can't. It's like, even that is a moment in history, like a moment. It's like an inhale and an exhale. And that's why, especially in the Vedas, they keep zooming out. They zoom out to the level of the demigods. They zoom out to the day of Brahma. Then they zoom out past that to the yuga cycles. And they zoom out past that to the inhale and the exhale of Lord Vishnu. And it's like, and it puts our great distress in perspective.
Whoa. Thank you. That was great. And it helps us remain clear, right? That's
helps us remain clear.
Remain clear. We got to do that. Now, what about number 7, Raghunath? Giving. Right?
Giving. Know that in giving and not taking, the real treasures of life are coming to you.
What are our treasures? And are there false treasures and real treasures? All right. You gonna run with that?
Yeah, it's one of these things also that it's like a sister of gratitude is giving.
Sister of gratitude. Oh, they come together.
Sister of gratitude. Now I'm making analogies. The Bhagavatam made analogies. Now it's time for Raghunath's Bhagavatam.
Personified qualities. Okay.
Well, what happens is when you start appreciating all that you have, you naturally want to start giving. Because you realize, God, so many people has been given to me my entire life. People have been gifting me. People have been loving me. People have been nurturing me. People have been supporting me. How can I give back? That's the natural thing. And in that gratitude, you want to start to give. And then the magic happens. You find that the people who are very grateful for things, they get more things. They get more things in their life to be grateful for. And then it's and of course they're not just also gross things or stuff, but stuff also. You get people.
Okay,
you get stuff also.
You may not get the stuff. You might not.
But you might not get stuff. But people, I think, are grateful. They end up just getting more stuff anyway. But they get the real substantial stuff, which is a joy of finding actually the flow of existence, which is encapsulated in this idea. You actually get much more in return from giving.
Yeah, I think the way that he's carefully phrased everything here, right? Know that in giving and not taking, the real treasures of life are coming to you. So it's implying that there may be treasures in our life, things that we treasure, that are not true treasures, right? That are not real treasures.
That brings up two thoughts. One is, you ever see these people who are like, I want to be in love. I want to be in love. I need somebody to love me. I want to love. It's just like running around trying to be in love. How about start loving? Start really loving people. Start really loving people, and people will love you. It's a quite simple math. Start loving. Stop trying to wait for love and start loving.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And your other thought?
My other thought was, what were you saying was the last thing you said?
That some of the things that we treasure in life may not be real treasures.
Oh, I don't know if this has anything to do with it. But it's an interesting point.
I had this one relevant thought, and then I had this total squirrel.
Well, it's a squirrel, a wisdom squirrel.
Okay.
It's a wisdom squirrel. I was thinking about time wasters. Like things that we waste our time with. We go, I scroll, I get caught up in scrolling, or like I just whatever. I zone out and I intoxicate myself with Netflix series. It's another time waster, a big time waster. Being in relationships that you're not serious with the person.
Okay.
You may not even digest this because you're in a sincere, loving marriage. And people don't do that. People do it. You get into a relationship and their time and you're not going to be with this person, but you just can't marry. You relate to this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hear
No.
more about that relationship in detail.
No, because you told me about somebody recently. I won't even mention their
Yeah,
name, but
thank
you told me that it just sucks up it sucks up time and energy and thoughts and stuff. And neither of the people are very serious, or maybe one person is serious and they're just playing the other person along. And that's a problem. And because our energy is valuable.
Right.
Time wasters.
To time wasters. I think this applies on all kind of levels. Like, in other words, we have to examine, are the things that we're pursuing, the quote unquote treasures, are they actually making us happy? Or are they actually delivering what we think they're going to deliver? And even, whether that means like certain like major material pursuits, or just even how we spend our time, like, right? Like if we're vegging out, binge watching or something like that, we have to look at ourselves and say, am I happy doing this? I wanted to take something here, enjoy something, but am I really, where's the happiness, or am I just burning off the time? Whereas people that have that, when they say, and this is something we could all experiment with, right? Let me, as the time is fast, I might hear this and say, you know what, that sounds true and it sounds meaningful, and so, but I'm in the current, the material energy, and it's flowing and it's taking me with it. I need to, that's why these kind of reflections that he's got here are so important. Is there some concrete step that I can make to actually practice this, practice giving, and see how it affects the quality of my life, see if I can find a greater treasure there.
Now's a great time to plug Patreon. Want to support what we're doing? Patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages. Practice giving. Back to Kasuba.
Any other one that you would like to speak on next?
Learn to think thoughts. What's your take on that one? Learn to think thoughts and give your energy.
No. Learn to think thoughts that give you energy.
Lost him.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Learn to think thoughts that give you energy. Like,
that makes sense. That makes much more sense than how I read it.
You walk down the street, you step on a subway, you look at the faces of the people. Are they alive? There are people that I know in this world, when I look in their face, I see life. I see energy. You look into their eyes, right? They're enthusiastic about life.
Prabhu,
yeah,
I've got it. I've got this one. It's the sounds we put in our head on our downtime that really make the intelligence sharpen. Like, me, I've got crazy stuff going through my mind at all times. Oh, they're jingles, they're songs, they're just turbo scenarios, animals attacking each other. And it's sort of like you need to purify that consciousness with insightful, thoughtful, thought-provoking, sharp, spiritual wisdom on a regular basis. And then when you sit like in silence, these are the sort of thoughts that are sort of ruminating in your mind, and your turbo scenarios are much higher. I've been in places. I mean, we all know that I'm not a pure devotee. I think that goes without saying. But I can remember when the turbo scenarios in my mind were that of lust, that of revenge, that of settling the score with that, fake, good for nothing Turk. You know what I mean? There's these thoughts going through the mind. We're just replaying turbo scenarios of things that were never satisfying or could never satisfy or didn't exist. And so we ruminate on what we dump in our mind. And so that's a big part of living healthy, is eating like the superfoods for the consciousness.
Okay, thank you for that.
Mara writes that one down for a possible T-shirt.
Number 3 is surrender. And that's a big word, and there's a lot to that. But he gives a little hint here how we might take some steps forward, right? He says,
let go of your fear, surrender.
Yeah.
By conscientiously choosing small acts for the pleasure of the Lord. You build a strong bridge of surrender that eventually brings you to him.
So small acts, right? You got to kind of build your faith in this. But if you find a way to regularly do small acts of surrender, I'm going to surrender my time, right? I'm going to surrender my words in this particular circumstance, right? Even surrendering your time can be something as simple as like things we've talked about. Like, I'm going to read right now. I'm just going to, like every day I'm going to read a verse of Bhagavad Gita and read the entire commentary. That's a surrender, right? That's time that I could have used in a selfish way. And I'm saying, here, God, I'm giving it back to you. Surrender might be in the way that you relate to someone, that you spend time with someone that you normally wouldn't with, for a deeper, more spiritual purpose or for a higher purpose, right? Or
Let's read together. You surrendered some time.
Yeah.
Let's I was hanging out with Henry the other day. It was really fun. We really connected in a deep way, I felt. And as we're going for like a little walk down this country road, we have conversation. In that conversation, a couple of times, basically spiritual conversation and reminiscing spiritual things. But in that conversation, there were a couple times I steered it south, towards something completely mundane. And in that mundane talk, I noticed him steering it right back to something spiritual. And that's sort of like a sacrifice of your speaking energy to something more spiritual. We're sacrificing our words. We're sacrificing our time. We're sacrificing our relationship for something much upgraded. You think about that?
That goes to number 5.
Number 5. Choose good friends and dare to talk with them of things you are usually silent about.
What was that? Why are you looking so good?
Well, I thought my dog was like talking. He was like, "Whoa, God." I was like, "What?"
So what do you make of this, Raghunath?
Choose good friends and dare to talk with them about things you are silent about.
What are the things we're silent about?
Maybe generally the things you're silent about are some sort of fears that you don't want to bring up publicly, or some hesitations or some struggles that, of course, when you say a friend, that really equates to a person that you can trust. You trust their confidence. I share my stuff with you. You share your stuff with me. I don't feel like you're going to blab it to everybody. Because you want to, part of being vulnerable is feeling safe.
Tell a friend Friday doesn't work for this kind of thing.
No. As a matter of fact, it's one of those things like Jiva tells me in the 12-step group is like, you got to tell one person, whereas we're sick as our secrets, right? So you got to tell at least one person, and you got to tell God, but if I don't tell anybody, then I bury my emotions. I become sicker. I never get to like purge the stuff. And it's a problem when you do all the other things of Krishna consciousness. I chant my japa. I read my books. I go to holy places. I went to a kirtan, but I never share my secrets with a friend who's going to hold me and hear me, or a teacher that might give me some advice or lead me. And instead I pack it in.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
What is it about saying it out loud to another person that makes such a difference?
Well, sometimes it's like journaling. Sometimes there's some clarity just from saying it. And then the person might say like, really, is that all? Then they might almost prompt you to say more and to admit. Sometimes we don't even admit to ourselves what we're doing wrong.
We're not penetrating deep into
We're not even penetrating. We're just like, I've got a problem. Well, how bad is that problem? How long is that problem going on for? A while. Would you say a while means like this year or for 20 years? You know what I mean? Sometimes we live in a fog and we don't even fully admit to ourselves. So we have to admit to ourselves, to another person, and to God. Isn't that a beautiful way to put it?
Yeah. So, okay, that was a helpful answer.
And the beautiful thing is, see, the material world works like this. I admit my shortcomings, and people mock me for it. People, now they've sized me up as this loser. And so I've learned to shut up, or else you're going to grind my nose in the dirt. But in Bhakti, we don't do that. We've got to make sure we don't do that. We have to be very, very there for a person and hold that space for them. And then when we share, we hold that. We don't even comment. We just hear them. If they ask us to comment, we can prompt them, maybe direct them, but we really just want to be ears for them. Or else what you do is you create, and I've seen this in spiritual societies, including our own, whereas you have a public presentation of yourself, and a secret presentation of yourself. And that creates the opposite of what we want in spiritual life. That creates a secret, a secret life, a duplicitous mind, almost like a public appearance and a secret private appearance. And that's a massive problem on a spiritual ladder.
Well, and that goes to the idea that we've discussed in the past, that like when you read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, this, book that's just it's such a fascinating book because it just kind of lays out how bhakti is practiced and within a society, right? There we find that it's really not our weakness, like we could say our sins, but like our weaknesses. We may have a background that's just full of misbehavior and chaos, right? That's really not a disqualification for deep spiritual life. It's not a disqualification for bhakti. The disqualification is hypocrisy.
Oh,
yeah.
Write that one down, Mara.
Okay, the disqualification.
Write one down. I like Katerina's quote on the message board was, "Shame dies when stories are told in safe places."
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I just wanted to kind of like spend a little bit more time with the point that I was developing. If you don't mind. Yeah. But I think that's so important because I think it's natural for people to feel like I'm disqualified. I can't be one of those deeply spiritual people. But when we read books like Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see that even people that are just had the worst backgrounds, they were accepted, and people that appear to be so externally religious, let's say,
right,
due to hypocrisy, they completely miss it, right? And they become, I don't know, like if villains is the right word, but in other words, they become that character who's we're learning not to be like.
Right.
Yeah. So that's really, really, if we can open up and share those kind of things, we can maybe overcome a lot of our hypocrisy. There's one left I wanted to get into, Raghunath, because we don't have that much time left. I think we covered.
You know what? We did the whole show on these, but these are all important.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, this is one I think is for the practicing bhakti yogis. Okay, this is about taking your life deeper, right? Find that small spark in your heart, right? We may be doing things mechanically, we may be doing things ritualistically, but within us, there's that small spark. Find that small spark in your heart and then act out of love rather than duty.
I like that.
Raghunath's taking it in.
I like that. Well, because, in bhakti yoga, we have this thing, sadhana bhakti. Mm-hmm. Sadhana bhakti is sort of acting in a dutiful way on the order of the spiritual master to develop sort of training wheels, like giving us training wheels to help us ride the bike. I don't like to chant japa. So the spiritual master says, you chant a prescribed number of rounds. I don't like to wake up early. So we wake up early and we do all these things very dutifully to develop a taste, because I on my own, left to my own accord, I sleep in. I don't chant. I talk about nonsense. I eat whatever. I put whatever in my mouth. So sadhana bhakti is like getting the training wheels. And eventually sometimes when a little kid, they're riding the bike and the training wheels sort of flip up by mistake and they're riding the bike and they don't even realize it. This is what happens naturally in bhakti. We naturally develop the taste for these things because they're inherent within everybody. The desire to worship Krishna or to worship a higher power, that is an inherent quality. It's actually what we're made of. It's our default. It's our default. And the most beautiful thing I used to witness, when I lived in Los Angeles, when I first got married was, there's a very regimented, morning program at the ISKCON temples, at any temples. In the morning program, you wake up at this time, it's this program, and that's the whole morning program, and it takes up many hours. But in the evening time, they always just had the 7:00 kirtan, and it was unofficial. And in that unofficialness, it wasn't required. People just wanted to be with Krishna. So you'd see people come in with their families, and they would just sit there, and one person would lead. And it was the most charming thing because no one had to be there. No one was obliged to be there. They just wanted to be there. And that's how they wanted to wind down their evening. and the kids would be sort of running around. It was very family friendly, and it was very beautiful hearing these singers sing from their heart and wind out the night with Krishna out of not duty, but out of love,
Yeah.
obligated by love.
I think that none of us would be practicing this very long if that spark, that spontaneous attraction, that if there wasn't a spark of that in us. But we can lose touch with that spark.
Yes.
And just be acting out of duty. So find it, cultivate it. That's what's going to take you from being a religious person to deeply spiritual person. That's what's going to breathe new life into your spiritual practice. Find that spark every day. Look for it.
Find the spark. Hashtag.
And then act out of love rather than duty. All right. I think that'll do it. Mara, do you have any takeaways for us today?
I have so many takeaways today.
Okay.
Krishna's trying to give us a roadmap.
Okay.
Right.
Whether we like it or not, the material world will crumble in our hands.
Crumble.
Trust there's a spiritual path and move forward.
Trust.
Don't invest in pain.
Don't.
Don't invest. I've got some extra money. Can I invest? What do you got to invest in here today? Pain.
All of our possessions are being struck by lightning.
Yeah.
We're getting displaced too.
Yeah.
You're getting displaced.
Our life is a tiny sliver in the eternal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wink. It's a sneeze. I said a sneeze. I like that better. Achoo. That's it. It's over.
Giving is a sister of gratitude.
Oh, twin sisters?
Are our material pursuits making us happy?
Are they, Raghu?
Gripping a cactus.
Are they? That's your thing now.
Are they?
The disqualification is hypocrisy.
Yeah, that's right. The disqualification is hypocrisy.
Act out of love rather than duty.
Okay.
Obligated by love.
Eat healthy, consume superfoods for the consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Have faith that Krishna is listening to the voice.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the guest house. Don't get too attached.
Mm-hmm.
Find the spark and be a share bear.
Be a share bear. Woohoo! Thanks, everybody. That was a great show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks for all the Zoomers who Zoom on in. If you want to be a Zoomer, email Mara, Wisdom of the Sages, 108@gmail.com. It's a community-supported podcast. If you like what we do, for the cost of your, what's that one you drink? That dirty chai latte, Mary? Mara? What's that
Yeah.
with oat milk?
Yes.
For the cost of that latte for one day.
How much does
For
it
the cost
cost?
or for the cost of the, I don't know, $5.50. I don't know.
I
The
don't know.
cost of
There's not
Mara.
even a
Don't act like
Starbucks
you
near
don't know.
here.
We don't even have a Starbucks near us. You gotta like hike to Albany for a Starbucks. But the idea is for a cost of one of those expensive coffee drinks, you could contribute to Wisdom of the Sages and keep this boat floating. Or for the cost of 5 lattes, you could as well. Go to patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages, and a big, big thanks for everybody that contributes monthly. It really makes it's all consuming. It's becoming all consuming in a wonderful way. You know what? I was thinking. Who was I saying this to yesterday? I was saying it to Radha Priti that sometimes we think about our job, and we're like consumed. Even on our off time, we're thinking about our job. But if we focus if we can be in a place where our work is serving Guru and Krishna, then even on your downtime, when you're thinking, sometimes you're laying in bed thinking about your work, you can think of, Guru, how can I serve Guru? How can I serve Krishna? It's in there anyway. And then you can actually really think 24/7 about Krishna. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So we really have to tie that work in with an offering somehow. If we can really do that, then even the thinking about work, which it can appear mundane, it'll be tied to our seva to Guru and Krishna.
Raghunath, there's something you had to do. You asked me the first thing when the show started. You said, "How are you today, Kastuba?" And I said, "I'm super happy today, especially happy."
Yeah.
And then you just blew right past it. You didn't ask why.
Okay. Anyway, Mara, how are you feeling?
Look, you did it again.
I'm just kidding.
I know. But the
Tell us
point
why,
is
Kastuba.
that
What's going on, man? What's the
is that
latest?
some of our listeners are getting initiated today. It's a big
Yeah,
celebration.
Akiko-san is
I think
getting
you need
initiated.
you're not going to be there. I think you need to give your blessings.
Total blessings, Akiko-san. We're really happy for you. And the jewel of Harlem also, Harry Bowl. And of course,
Pat is getting initiated into that.
oh, Pat is getting initiated.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. I picked for Pat Padyavali. Padyavali. Boomba.
Parmagopi.
Huh?
Parmagopi.
Parmagopi.
What did you say? Which one did you?
Padyavali. Padyavali.
Alright.
Anyway, this is great news. And of course, Rachel's getting her fire yagya. She already got the name. Now she's getting the fire yagya. So Radha Priti. All glorious to everybody. All right, guys. I got some lunches to make for the kids. So that being said, it's a beautiful day for a beautiful day, and let the magic flow. Let the magic flow. Like a
This is the mute comes right now.
Oh, no, no.